and welcome to GameStack. We are talking about video game remakes.
That's right, Joe. Not sequels. We're talking about remakes here. Games that were released, and then they're so awesome, companies wanted to update them with graphics, music, maybe new controls or whatever.
Yeah, completely reprogrammed, not just a port of the original game or anything like that. Anyway.
Not just stupid laziness.
Yeah, I'm first, so I'm going to show off the first game.
All right.
Yeah, that's right, buddy. Dracula X came out on the PC Engine Super CD in 1993, and I was stoked. I was lucky enough to grab the game when it was first released, and it blew me away. I mean, this was Castlevania like nobody had ever seen before. You can tell that so much attention to detail and love was put into this game. This even did things that the TurboGrafx 16 wasn't known for, like scrolling up to 4 overlapping layers in the background when in reality the system only had one background. The music and sounds were both incredible as well. Of course, since this game was so awesome, we never saw a US release, until recently. In 2007, Konami finally released the game in the States on the PSP as Castlevania: The Dracula X Chronicles. This was a full-on polygonal remake. All of the stages were here, but now in full 2.5D glory. Well, actually, I'm not sure that glory is an appropriate word. As a fan of the original since its initial release, it's fun to see some of the changes they've made to the graphics, but otherwise, well, they're just downright ugly. There's far less color on screen, and it seems to have been bitten by the brown and gray fad that's still going on with many modern games to this day. Even your character is a polygon. The entire game as a whole just looks extremely low budget. However, they did remix the music, and it's really, really good. Now, I don't prefer the remixed music over the original, but it's still great fun to listen to as you play. To me, the controls seem slower and less responsive. It's really hard to kill these spear-wielding knights in the remake, whereas everything's quick and responsive in the original game. Also in the original, I'm perfectly safe on this platform as this half-eaten but still living beast enters the room. But in the PSP version, I get hurt for some reason when he comes in. Weird. I think the designers knew it was a subpar remake, so they included the original game as well, but fully translated. It also has these weird borders on the side of the screen because God forbid any of the screen is black. It looks tacky. Borders always look tacky. They also changed some of the sound effects as well. Also included is the PlayStation version of Symphony of the Night, which is a fantastic game in its own right. All in all, this is a typical 2.5D remake with muddy graphics and unresponsive controls. It could have been much better. I guess nobody knows how to draw in 2D anymore.
Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3 on the NES are some of the most loved games of the 8-bit era, and for damned good reasons. I have lots of fond memories of playing Super Mario in the arcade and at a friend's house. And then one glorious Christmas morning, I got my own. The action and platforming in this game were spot on. There were plenty of secrets to be discovered, and it had great music to add to the fun. Super Mario 2 was a Christmas present the very next year after I got my NES. I had played this game before at my sister's house in New York, and at the time all I wanted to do was stay home and play instead of seeing stupid things like the Statue of Liberty or even the Twin Towers. Super Mario 2, as you know, is so different from all the other games in the series, and that might be why it's my favorite Mario game from that era. In Japan, Super Mario 2 was more like just a new set of levels with increased difficulty and very few new features. Then came Super Mario Bros. 3, and I remember seeing a commercial for this game almost every day before it was released. Hell, it was even the main event in the movie The Wizard. I was so excited. This time, the game went back to its roots but added a lot of extra content like suits Mario could wear that would give him new abilities. But let's talk about the remake of all these games. In 1993, Nintendo graced the world with Super Mario All-Stars on the Super Nintendo. This is a collection of the first 3 Mario games and also the Lost Levels, which is the Japanese version of Super Mario 2. As a fan of the series, I was in total awe when I brought this game home and played it. Each game got remade with loving care from the ground up and nothing was left untouched. Everything got the 16-bit makeover. All the levels of each game have been redrawn and a lot of detail has been added with some really nice scrolling effects. Mario and all the enemies have been redrawn as well and look outstanding. And of course the music has been rearranged and it has a much more rich sound to it. It sometimes has a tad too much reverb in my opinion, but it still sounds great. Nintendo did an outstanding job with remakes of the Mario series. In 2010, Nintendo released the 25th anniversary version on the Wii. While it's the exact same games that are on the SNES, Nintendo didn't do anything to the game ROMs, which kind of disappointed me. The package was nice with the soundtrack and history book, but the game presentation was seriously lacking. Nintendo should have done a lot more for a 25th anniversary game.
Castle of Illusion on the Genesis is one of my favorite games of all time. It does just about everything it needs to perfectly. The stages are all colorful and well designed, the enemies are cartoony and fun, and the control is simply spot on perfect. And let's not forget that the graphics are amazing for a small 4-meg cart and the music is fantastic as well. I've played through this game several times per year every year since I bought it when it was released. So as you can imagine, I felt more than just a bit trepidatious when it was announced that Sega of Australia was going to do a download-only remake of the game for the PS3 and the Xbox 360. I figured that they'd ruin the game and make it some 2.5D abomination. It was eventually announced that one of the designers from the original game was helping him, and that eased my fears a bit, but only a bit. So how is it? Well, actually I was pleasantly surprised with this one. Pretty much all of the original stages are represented in some fashion, but they've all been extensively changed around and redesigned. There's also some slightly new areas to explore. The game controls as a 2D game for the most part, and you can use the analog stick or the D-pad. I much preferred using the D-pad. But the 3D segments that are thrown in here and there are best played with the analog stick for sure. These 3D segments can kinda be tough sometimes because it's difficult to judge the depth. One of my biggest disappointments is that the butt stomp is gone when you land on enemies. In the original game, when you jump, you'd either press the C button to curl up and land on your ass on the enemies and bounce high, or press down and do a low bounce off of the enemies. In this game, you can still control your bounce height with this method, but instead you land on the enemies with your feet. I guess using your butt as a weapon is just taboo with Disney these days. Also, the controls, while better than I thought they'd be, seem a bit stiff and snappy in certain situations. The control overall just isn't as good as the Genesis game. But still, it's really fun to play, even if I did beat it the first time I played it. It's fun to see what they did with the different levels and how they changed the boss fights around from the original game. There's a hub world that you can wander around and do useless things like unlock paintings and collect statues by way of finding stuff during the stages. The original game really didn't have much of a hub world. The graphics are actually pretty good for a 2.5D polygon game. The music is all orchestrated, which really isn't my favorite style for games, but they did a surprisingly good job in this one. There's some useless narration that's present the first time you play through an area, but you can fortunately turn it off. Overall, I'm glad I bought this one. And on a sad note, Sega of Australia has since been closed down and everyone there lost their jobs. Probably because they forgot to put in the butt stomp.
As we all know, Ducktales on the NES is a classic. At the time, Capcom was making some seriously fun games, and this one was no exception. It had everything going for it that made a great title. It was based on one of the better afternoon cartoons of the time. I mean, just listen to the title screen music, and I would almost guarantee that 80% of you could sing at least some of the lyrics. The game was fun with really good level design with lots of hidden items and rooms. The control was good, even though using the pogo stick was very hard sometimes. And of course it was tough as nails. I mean damn tough. So let's take a look at the remake for the PS3, Xbox 360, and the Wii U. Capcom handed the project over to WayForward. They've put out some great games, so things are looking promising so far. This game, as you can see, has beautiful hand-drawn sprites that play over a 2.5D background. I know that Joe isn't a fan of how the polygon backgrounds look, but I think it looks great. You know, it's probably the best looking matchup between 2D and 3D that I've ever seen. This time the game got a more fleshed out storyline that is completely voiced by most of the original actors from the original cartoon.
Aha! A coin bearing the image of the Queen's horse.
However, some of the cutscenes tend to drag on and takes away from the action. They can be skipped, which is nice, so you can get going again.
Hey, watch it!
You can pick from the original 8-bit sound or a new rearranged soundtrack. Both are great, and the new arrangements are extremely fun to listen to, and I had no disappointments at all. The toughness of the first game is gone. It's much easier to control your pogo stick in this one, as all you have to do is hold in the button. But if you're a diehard, you can use the original controls if that's what you like. Also, the game's safe, so you don't have to start over every time you power on the system, and this makes everything much easier. In November, this will be released on a physical disc instead of just being download only. It'll be $20, and I'm sure I'll buy it again. Capcom knew I'd pay for this game twice. All in all, it's a great package that brings back many memories of my youth.
Alright, so Dave, do you like the original DuckTales better or the remake?
That's a hard one, Joe. I like the original for memories that I had of the game, but I like the remake because it's easier.
Yeah, and you like easy games. You hate hard games.
And it has a password. Yeah. Not a password, but a save feature.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
I can pick it up later when whenever.
Exactly. So, anyway, I'm going to be getting the solid, hard physical copy. I didn't bother downloading the fake version.
I did. But I'm going to probably get the physical copy too.
Like you said, yes.
And a collector idiot.
Yes, you are. You are an idiot.
Yes,
collector, maybe. We are going to talk about some more games. And again, I've got the first one for the second half.
That's just not right.
Yes, it is. So let's check it out. I've never really enjoyed the Mega Man series on the NES as much as everyone else seems to. Blasphemy, I know. The first one that I was exposed to was Mega Man 2, and that remains my favorite to this day. It has really cool level and enemy design, and the amazing music helps make it the best Mega Man game ever in my opinion. Mega Man 1 was okay, and some of the music was good, I guess. I was looking forward to Mega Man 3, but it just didn't seem as fun as Part 2, so I never really got into it. But we're here to look at Mega Man the Wily Wars on the Mega Drive. The only way you could play this on the Genesis in the US was if you had the Sega channel, and not very many people did. This has the first 3 Mega Man games redone all on one cartridge. Now, it's fairly well known that Capcom didn't put their best programmers on the Genesis, and I think it shows in this one. The graphics did get a nice upgrade, and I don't have too many complaints with how it looks. I really like the extra layers of scrolling that have been added to some of the stages. I wish the extra scrolling was added to all of them though. They also redid the music. It sounds okay, but I know the Genesis can sound much better than this. Overall, I think I prefer the NES renditions of the music because they just sound more energetic. You know what, Capcom should have hired Technosoft to port the music for them. But how does the game play? Well, for one, the games are all locked on the difficult setting and there's no way to play on normal that I know of. So now the games are a lot tougher unless that's how you've always played them on the NES. The menu screen has been relocated to the A button and that's very welcome. The menu itself is still fairly cumbersome though. Also in this version, Mega Man is a bit more hesitant when you tap the D-pad left or right. As a result, there seems to be a bit of lag when you start running. This is present in the NES versions, but it's not as noticeable. There's also a ton of slowdown that's been added. Capcom's programmers definitely didn't understand the Genesis. What's cool is that this version has a backup for saving your game instead of a password. Once you beat all 3 Mega Man games, you unlock the Wily Tower. This is an all-new set of Wily stages that are exclusive to this version, and you can pick and choose from all the weapons and items from any of the 3 games. If you like Mega Man, you'll like this edition for sure. And let's not forget Mega Man Powered Up on the PSP. This is a remake of Mega Man 1. Now, if you can recall all the way back to just over 2 minutes ago, I said that I felt that the first Mega Man was okay. Well, that opinion pretty much sums up how I feel about this version as well. You can choose between old style and new style. With the new style, the stages are slightly rearranged from the original layout and it has newly arranged music. The new music is alright, it can be good in places I guess. Also, if you defeat a boss using only your regular weapon, you can choose to play through the game as him. The old style has the same stage layouts as the original game and also puts those borders on the sides of the screen. The music is also taken straight from the NES version. Both styles are presented in a hyper-cute manner that will appeal to preteen girls, though they probably won't like the difficulty. The hesitation I talked about earlier is even worse in this one, and it kind of makes the controls feel a bit stiff. I wish they would have remade the second game instead of this one. I do prefer the Wily Wars more than Powered Up. Overall, I think the remakes are well done for the most part, and Mega Man fans will mostly enjoy them. As for me, I think I'd enjoy the series a lot more if Mega Man could just duck.
Ducktales is a little shooter by Taito that started in the arcade. It's a cute game that's filled with a bunch of Chinese-themed things like noodle bowls and flying Chinese men. It was ported to the Sega Master System as Cloudmaster by Hot B, and this version was okay. I think I prefer the name Cloudmaster over Ducktales though. Hot B also ported this to the Famicom in Japan, so it's very similar to the Sega Master System version. There was still yet a PC Engine version in Japan that added to the game, making it kind of like a Cloudmaster Champion Edition. Hell, it's even better than the arcade. The bosses are all different, you can turn around and shoot backwards, and even the levels have been extended in certain ways. Overall, Cloudmaster is not the best shooter out there, but I find it enjoyable. But in 2008, Starfish bought the rights from Taito and remade this game for the Wii. Stateside, it had the awesome name of The Monkey King, The Journey Begins. It features redrawn character sprites, backgrounds, and new music. The character and enemy sprites are all drawn fairly well and look pretty nice. The backgrounds, while drawn really well, are kind of lacking in color and just seem a little bit drab. The music isn't great, but it fits the style of the game, so I won't pick on it too much. The real gimmick in the remake is the control. Being on the Wii, of course they decided to make use of the motion controls. You control the game by holding the Wii remote sideways like an NES pad. Tilting the controller left or right speeds up or slows down the scrolling of the screen. Typically I just never use the feature as it really doesn't add anything to the game. Just like in the originals, you start out very slow and very weak, but this is much easier than the old games. After collecting some speed and weapon power-ups, it gets even easier. Midway through each level, you can enter a shop by defeating a certain enemy. In this shop, you can pick a secondary weapon which helps you in your battle. In later levels, there is one secondary weapon that you can get that completely ruins the balance of the game, but it's in your favor. As you can see, this weapon fills the whole screen and makes the game completely boring. Basically, the game turns into a bullet hell shooter, but this time it's the game that can avoid your shots. Not even the bosses can withstand this firepower for long before they die. At this rate, the whole game takes less than an hour to beat, even after you turn around at the end and work your way all the way back to the start. Oh, this is the ending? Yes, this is the ending. Fabulous. Well worth my time. As of this episode, this game is on Amazon for under $5 plus shipping, and I do think it's worth that even if it's just to beef up your collection.
We've mentioned Flashback, the Quest for Identity before, and I didn't care too much for it. This is the Genesis version here, and most of them are pretty much the same. This was advertised as being the CD-ROM experience on a cartridge. Not quite. I still don't like it much. The controls are just horrible. If only they were as good as Blackthorn, then I think I'd enjoy it a lot more. So I didn't expect much when I downloaded the demo of Flashback for the Xbox 360. Long story short, I liked the demo enough to purchase the whole thing, and I'm glad I did. And yes, if you can believe it, this is the CD-ROM experience on your Xbox 360. This remake is so much better than the original in pretty much every conceivable way. For one, the controls have been fixed so that they're now actually intuitive and extremely responsive. This makes the game a whole lot more fun to play. It's also a lot more action-oriented with other people and things to shoot, not to mention a crap ton of drones. Everything moves around at a very brisk pace, unlike the original game. There's a lot of small goals to complete in each stage, some of them which were taken from the original game and some of them which are completely new. I like that the game is nowhere near as cryptic as the original. Like, just how am I supposed to get up on that ledge? I know I'm missing something, but The remake lets you know what you can grab onto and has molecular glasses that you can use to discover more hints if you want. Fortunately, you can turn all of that stuff off if that's how you want to play it. The graphics are really good, with the exception of some screen tearing here and there. But this is Ubisoft, and I'm convinced they love screen tearing. The sound is also pretty good with realistic effects. Like the original, music only plays at key points during the game, and that's fine. If you don't mind not having a physical copy of the game, check this one out as it's only $10 on Xbox Live. It's also now available on the PlayStation 3 and I believe the PC.
Released in 1986, Metroid on the NES is one of Nintendo's greatest achievements. I had a lot of fun with this game back in the day as it had great action and platforming with huge levels. The music was awesome, and right from the title screen it drew me in with its eerie feeling. The only thing bad about the game was not knowing exactly where you were going. There was no map screen, so that left you with either guessing where you're going, which is just plain stupid, or you could draw a map on graph paper. This was the only real way to play. In 2004, Nintendo decided they loved Metroid fans and released Metroid Zero Mission for the Game Boy Advance. Basically, this is a fleshed out version of the first game and nothing is spared. Firstly, the story has been expanded upon with little bits of dialogue and some really cool artwork. The game looks and plays very similar to Super Metroid, and that is awesome. As with a lot of modern games, the difficulty isn't there. It's just overall an easier game. Not just easier in the sense of less enemies coming at you, but there's lots of help and hand-holding, as people like to say. You now have a map, which is great, and once you get to a map room, it shows the whole level and where you've been and where you haven't. Also, at times, you'll rest in the arms of a Chozoa, and that tells you exactly where you need to go next. I have mixed feelings about this kind of stuff, but overall, I think I'm okay with it, at least in this game. Everything controls perfectly, and some cool enhancements have been added, like hanging on edges and being able to shoot diagonally. Doing the screw attack is super easy, and using it to hover to get to higher areas is a breeze. The music is phenomenal and has lots of haunting themes from the original and a lot of new great tunes. Of course, being on the Game Boy Advance, it all sounds kind of scratchy, but I can get past that and enjoy it. In my opinion, this is the perfect type of remake. Everything has been touched up for the better, and they even included the original game as extra content. Well done, Nintendo. This is why you are the bestest company ever to be on the face of the earth. You really don't like Mega Man?
Come on. I didn't quite say I don't like it. I just don't like it as much as everyone else seems to.
Well, you're supposed to like it infinitely. It's your new god or something, Joe.
No,
I mean, Mega Man is.
I can't really argue with you on that because it's true.
Yeah, and you're going to get your house egged, and that's all I know. So watch out.
Probably. Do not egg my house.
Watch your back.
I like Mega Man 2, okay? That should be enough. Anyway, why the hell did you cover Chuka Taisen? No one knows what that game is. I barely even know what it is.
Well, I
mean, you could have picked something else.
I did. I wanted to do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Super Nintendo, TMNT 4, but when I went to download the reshelled game, it would have been great.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's long gone. So
you can't download it anymore.
No, it's long gone. And that brings me to why I hate digital media.
They're not available forever, unlike physical media.
I still have
used or something.
Yeah, I still have Turtle Force for my Super Nintendo, but the game that's been released for about a year now on the PSN and Xbox Live is not available.
That's ridiculous.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Enjoy your digital content.
Yeah. Anyway, if we cover this topic again, what games should we cover? Let us know. And in the meantime, thank you for watching GameSack. Dave, what are you doing?
Oh, okay. I thought you were in the bathroom.
Well, I'm not. I'm here. What are you doing? These are my games.
Yeah, I know they're your games, but these games, they've already been remade. And you own the new remakes, and I figure you probably just want those because they've got better graphics and music and probably control and stuff. So
I do?
You do. Of course you do. So I'm just going to take the original ones because you don't want those. They're just primitive, so...
Why are you taking Dragon Force? That hasn't been remade.
You're right. No, it has. You're right. It hasn't been remade yet. It's gonna get. I just have this feeling it's gonna be remade, and people are gonna You know, so I'll just take this from you now, and then you
Come
can...
on, Dave. You've taken all these games from me before, and I've got all these IOUs, and you haven't given one back. What the hell is up with that?
I plan to. You better hold on to these, because these are worth money, my friend. I'm good for them. And you know what? I'll write you new IOUs for these games that I'm taking right now. So, but I'll just take these, and, you know, you can just watch out, and I'll see you later. What a jerk.